Hi, everyone. This is Richie Valdez, your host for our Battle Live events. As you know, for those of you that have been tuning in, Battle Canada's mission is to be the best outdoor cultural sports and music festival to serve the diverse cultural mosaic that is Canada. So our battle for cause here is really in support of the SickKids Foundation and the Montreal Children's Hospital Foundation as well. Today, I'm super excited to have and feature a personal blogger and recipe developer, Holly Lee. Welcome, Holly.
Hey.
Thank you so much for joining us today. Today, she's gonna actually show us how to make pesto pasta with shrimp, which is her go-to meal, and it's on rotation today in your kitchen. Is that right?
Right. Yeah, Drew and I, we like to eat something carb heavy, twice a week because he trains pretty hard. But throughout the week, we eat pretty plain.
That's amazing. I can't wait to see it because one of my favorite things to eat is shrimp.
Yeah, it's really easy.
Now, for those of you that have never met Holly, Holly was born and raised in Portland, Oregon, and her ethnicity is half Vietnamese and half Chinese. So I'm sure there's like a lot of inspiration of that in your cooking, right, Holly?
Yeah, well, recently, the past 3 years since, Drew started playing in China, I was a little bit more inspired to, get back to my roots, and we travel a lot, so we're inspired by that too.
And I know you're a huge foodie yourself. You come from a large family that loves to eat and cook, which has exposed you to cooking at a very young age, which is amazing. And now you're here in Toronto with your fiance Drew, who is a professional basketball player. So I'm sure that comes with an extremely busy schedule.
Yeah, really busy. We're moving like nonstop. Well, not right now, but normally.
Yes, exactly. So again, welcome for joining. How are you doing during this crazy COVID time?
It was really hard to adjust the first couple of weeks. We have no idea what to do. We didn't have our gym, our routine. But once we kind of figured it out, we're actually enjoying it because we're spending this time to focus on things we've always been interested in.
That's amazing. And what changes have you had to make? Because obviously you were go, and now you're just sort of chilling. So what type of changes have you had to make, especially with cooking?
Well, we try not to go out too much. So now I have to plan ahead, and I only go to the store once or twice a week at most.
Mm-hmm.
Before, it's, a little crazy to some people, but I used to go every day.
Wow.
Well, I cater to Drew, so he'll wake up and tell me what he wants to eat, and then I'll shop that day.
Mm-hmm. That's amazing. And what inspires you as a blogger, or where do you get your inspiration every day? Because you're posting regularly on your Instagram account. What gives you inspiration?
Well, I love to cook ever since when I was young. I think the first thing I've ever made was microwaved eggs. I mean, that was really disgusting, but I forced myself to eat it because I love the idea of making something and creating it. And every year my parents would give me the new Easy Bake Oven. But inspiration is Portland, because Portland is a huge foodie city. We have every type of cuisine, but mainly it caters to every diet, whether you're keto, vegan, gluten-free, we have everything.
That's awesome. Well, I'm really excited to get this started. So I'm going to pass it over to you, Holly, as you make your own recipe, which is pesto pasta with shrimp.
Okay.
I'll pass it over to you. Go ahead.
Okay, so today we have a pound of shrimp, cleaned and washed, and this is about 6 cups of basil, or you can buy 2 bags, a cup of olive oil, a cup of Parmesan, half cup of pine nuts, and this goes in the shrimp, which is 2 teaspoons of sea salt, 1 teaspoon of garlic salt, and 1 teaspoon of pepper. And you have your lemons, and you can do 4 to 5 cloves of garlic. So the first thing I'm going to do is roast the pine nuts on the stove for a couple of minutes just to bring out the flavor.
And as you do that, Holly, are you looking for it to be a specific color?
You just want it browned a little bit, but be careful because they burn pretty easily.
Got it.
And while I do that, you can take a food processor or a blender. You will squeeze out 1 whole lemon juice. This lemon is about like medium size. You don't want it too big. Then you will throw in your basil. Cheese. All of your garlic, and the pine nuts should be ready. So I'll add about 1/2 cup of olive oil. And starting to blend. So once it gets like this, you'll want to add in the remaining olive oil. And it should come out like this light green color, like the color of my shirt. And I like to put it in a mixing bowl like this because afterwards we'll put our pasta in and that'll warm up the sauce. I don't like to do it on the pan because I feel like it just dries out the sauce. Andrew's here.
Hey, Andrew.
Can stream us? Can you stream us? Yeah.
What?
Can I stream us?
I mean, yeah, if you want.
Yeah, people say how you do it. That's so stream.
Okay. So it should look something like that. And this is, again, 2 teaspoons of sea salt, 1 teaspoon of garlic powder, and 1 teaspoon of pepper. You just mix it. Until it's all evenly coated. Then take it over here. And today I bought fresh pasta. This takes like 5 minutes to cook, but if you do dry pasta, that'll take about 15 minutes. Isn't the timer for 5 minutes? Okay. And now we're gonna saute the shrimp. And do this on like medium-high heat. So with shrimp, it cooks really fast. So you only want to do it for 2 to 3 minutes each side.
Holly, you know how you grew up in Portland? Would you say that Toronto's pretty comparable to Portland, or are we so far behind from a foodie scene perspective?
Um, I don't think the term is behind. I just think maybe priorities is a little bit different. Like Portland, we really focus on how we grow our food and where we source it. I mean, one time I went to a restaurant and the dessert was like cookies and cream or whatever. And the host told me that they source the milk from one cow, and that cow's name is like Shirley. You know, so being like organic and free range is really important. Toronto's a big city, and you guys have amazing restaurants as well, like Momofuku, and like STK. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, I mean, I've never had so much Jamaican food in my life. We don't have that in Portland.
Right.
A lot of Jamaican food, you heard it. So what is the cause for again? What is this cause? Just so people watching can see.
Yeah, so we're actually, the Cook for Cause is in support of raising funds for two causes. One is SickKids Foundation here in Toronto and the Montreal Children's Hospital Foundation. So when you visit the link in our Battle Canada bio, what's awesome is that that money goes directly to them, and SickKids will automatically split the funds 50-50 and direct it right over to Montreal Children's Hospital Foundation.
There you have it.
And thank you, Andrew. Just a big shout out, because one of the goals we had in May was to reach that $1,000 mark. And thanks to your generous contribution, we have actually exceeded our goal of 1,000. And now we're at 1305, which is amazing. So thank you both for your generosity.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having us. Ooh, that looks good.
So when you're cooking your shrimp, you don't want to overcook it, and you don't want it to decrease in size. You want to keep it the same size, so just stick to like 2 minutes each side. And once it's done, almost done, it should look like this. Okay.
Yummy.
So add that in here. Yeah, this is pesto. You just mix it in. Coat it evenly. Where are we at on time?
It's on your phone.
And check on the pasta.
So Holly, we have a Chef Azzy. She's 6 years old, and she's actually cooking alongside you. She wants to know how young you are.
I look young. I just turned 26.
Nice. Thank you, Azzy.
Yeah.
Last weekend.
So if you're making fresh pasta, like my rule is 5 minutes, but you know, different stove, different personalities. A good way to check is if your fresh pasta starts floating.
It starts floating? Okay.
Yeah. If all of it starts floating, that means it's done.
I don't know if you can just smell this. It's so good.
So instead of adding like the pasta water, most people do, I'm not going to rinse or wash the pasta. I'm just going to use tongs and directly put it in this mixture. So there should be enough.
You know what? I think that's a really, really good idea, because sometimes when you put the sauce directly onto, say, a stovetop, it just dries out so quick.
Yeah, yeah. So if you do it this way, you already have some of the pasta water going into the mixture. I mean, this is a really easy dish I like to make, especially when, a long day of working out or Drew's hungry and impatient.
Which is all the time.
Yeah. You can see, so it's like this, just mix it all around. And it should have like a slimy texture to it because of the pasta water.
Who taught you how to cook, Holly?
I would say my mom and grandma, but they didn't really teach me. They just made me be their sous chef, like demanded me. And when I got older and the internet was more accessible, like YouTube or Google. Okay. So how I serve it. Let's see. You can just pick it up by the tongue like this, plop it onto the plate and start twirling it so it has a nice presentation, and slowly release. And then you put your shrimp on top. And it should turn out like this.
Okay, I could like lick my screen right now.
Yeah, it's really easy.
That's amazing. That was like a super simple, and that took like 15 minutes, not even.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, that's amazing. And do you gravitate towards like your Vietnamese influence or Chinese?
Vietnamese for sure, but Vietnamese food and Chinese food, I mean, it commingles because Vietnam is right below China, and my dad was actually born in Vietnam. My grandparents are from China. So even though I'm half Chinese, my influence is Vietnamese based.
Cool. And is there a cuisine you've always wanted to try and you haven't quite touched yet?
No, because I tried every cuisine.
That's amazing.
Andrew and I, we travel so much, so we're fortunate enough to try everything. I don't have a favorite, but I was just talking to Andrew about this. I feel like as you get older, whatever you grew up with, that tends to be your favorite. Like his favorite is Jamaican food, and mine is Vietnamese. I think it's just like a comfort thing.
Yeah, I agree. I have two kids, and both times when I was pregnant, all I kept craving were like the things that I grew up with.
Yeah.
Like I totally know what you mean. Comfort food is comfort food, no matter how old you get, right?
Yeah, I mean, there has to be some science behind it because when I was younger, I just wanted McDonald's, pizza, very Western food. And now all I crave is Vietnamese.
And I know you mentioned you traveled. Like, what's your favorite place to travel to?
It's a tie between Bali and Tokyo. And they're completely different, but we were blown away by Tokyo because they're just perfectionists there. It's so clean. The food is absolutely amazing, even though we went to like the airport and just had simple ramen. It was probably one of the best bowls of ramen we've ever tried.
That's amazing. Like the mom pop shops definitely do it well each time.
Yeah,
They basically use their recipes that had have been passed down from like generation to generation, right?
I would say in Tokyo, we actually preferred like the smaller restaurants, like the big fancy chain restaurants. We had pretty fancy sushi in Tokyo, and it was good, but we preferred the $10 ramen.
Yeah, that's so interesting how that works out. Yeah, no, I just want to thank you so much for joining us, for sharing your recipe. Like, I know you've been a blogger for quite some time. Maybe like, could you share some of your advice for anyone, say, that's starting out as a blogger?
Well, whatever you do, make sure you're passionate about it so you don't get tired of it. And if you do, there was a period where I was cooking, posting 3 times a day, and I was getting pretty burnt out. So I gave myself a break and just, give yourself the time to rest and just make sure it's something you're passionate about.
That's amazing advice. Again, thank you very much for joining us. A special shout out to our sponsors. So the Paper Crane & Co. definitely backs us up. And again, please, 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 every little dollar counts. Make sure to donate to SickKids and Montreal Children's Hospital. Just visit us at Battle Canada on Instagram. And Holly, how can everyone reach you or watch what you do?
You can follow my food account at My Food Don't Lie. Lie is spelled L-Y.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much for joining us and for tuning in. We appreciate your help. Enjoy that meal. It's like I wish I was there to like smell it.
Once this is over, we'll make it for you.
That's amazing. Thank you both very much for your support. Andrew, if you're still there, I'm just saying hi over here.
No problem.
Thank you. Have yourself a wonderful day.
Okay, thank you.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.